Alright, so if you read the title, you might have kind of an idea what I'm going to be covering in this video, but in case not, I'm basically going to give you a do-it-yourself mod, or I would actually say it's probably more like a hack, which will allow you to play your faction battle system games with a lot more realism, and it's really all focused around this one here, the Spectre. The Havoc doesn't need this hack, but this one does. What is the problem is the way it's designed. Now, keep in mind, I've played paintball for quite a long time, so me having a hopper on top of my gun I'm used to it. But when I'm playing this, I want it to be more realistic. I should let you know, more than just running around the backyard having fun with these, I actually like to use them as like training tools for like close quarter combat type stuff. So kind of think of it more like a realistic training. So now, if you think of it like that, no real-life pistol has a big old hopper on the top of the gun, right? Okay, now you can see this one isn't a problem. This one has the hopper on the bottom, and it feeds motorized the beads up into the chamber in which it fires. So this one, no issue. It's great. It even comes with actually sights on it. So, but this one, on the other hand, yeah, that's an issue because you got this big old thing on top. Now let me show you. We'll look down the top of each of these guns to just show you how much of an issue it is. Alright, so first we have the Havoc, the rifle. And if we look down the top, so there we go. Not only do we not have an obstruction, we actually have sights that come pre-built on the blaster. So, no problem there. Excellent. Alright, and here's the Spectre, the pistol. And now I have the hopper attached up top. And at this time you can see it's empty. So, but let's take best case scenario that you kept it mostly empty. If you try to look through it, now you see, like looking at the corner there in the wall, you see how it's all distorted, kind of, well, like you're looking through a fish tank. So there's that issue. And then, of course, if you want to actually fill this hopper, then you're not seeing through it at all, because the whole thing will be full of the faction battle system's blue colored beads, which, again, you can't see through. And even if you were to have clear beads, it would be even worse of a picture than this. It would, yeah. So seeing through isn't possible if it's full, and it's not good even if it's empty. And if it's empty, well, what's the point, right? All right, and also, if you were to have this full, so imagine it's full of blue beads, you would have to look down the side to kind of get an idea of where you're shooting, which, again, that's not very realistic, is it? Alright, so step one is obviously taking off the hopper. And I was going to do some modification of this, but again, I want this to be super simple, something you can do almost right away without having to risk ruining your hopper at all. So I'm just going to basically put this aside. We won't be using that. Step two. Get yourself a pop to drink. I recommend. I like this Pepsi Zero Sugar with stuff. But all joking aside, you can get whatever pop you want as long as it comes in one of these bottles. And I would suggest not all caps are made the same. Some are made of different plastics and whatnot. So I found the ones that at least come right now with this type of cap work really well. So go ahead and finish this. Alright, so after you're done, go ahead and get your cap. I cleaned mine off. And yep, so we're going to definitely reuse. That's a form of recycling, right? Reusing. So we're going to basically reuse the cap. And so again, when I was talking about the different types of cap material, I see how this plastic has a little give. It's not too stiff, but at the same time, it's also not too flimsy. That's important because when we apply it to the Spectre pistol here, we're going to want to kind of lock that cap underneath these threads. Those threads you see in there are how the hopper locks in place. You screw it on and it kind of snaps in place. So we're going to be utilizing those threads. Again, we will not have to modify the gun at all. Alright, so now the important thread to keep your eyes on is this one, if I can focus this thing, it's the one right there at like the 5 o'clock position. Alright, so what you'll do is get your bottle cap, go ahead and kind of tuck it under, so you see that top thread. I'm going to put the cap just underneath that thread. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of squeeze the cap just a bit, and then push in and turn, kind of like you're screwing it in. So kind of like you know how you open those pill jars, you know how you have to push down then twist. You're going to kind of do similar motion with this guy here, and you only really need to turn it a little bit. and it'll be good enough. I wouldn't screw this down too far. I think that's unnecessary, and it will also limit some of your capacity if you screw it down too far. So I do one, like, kind of like almost like a quarter turn, quarter turn, and it works for me. You can see now, and I'll go ahead and show you. So I got the gun upside down. All that shaking, it has not come out. So it is secure enough, and then when you want to remove it, so reload or whatnot, you just go ahead and do a little squeeze and a little turn, and it comes off. And you can see no damage to the threads. Just wanted to point out this. The cap won't sit perfectly level. You can see how it's kind of angled a bit. That's fine. This is enough to hold it in place, and it also gives you a decent enough sight picture. So no need to really screw it down too tight. Looking down the top here, you can see your sight picture is actually pretty much unobstructed. I know the bottle cap is, obstructing a little bit. We don't have any, like, sights on here, like posts, but what I found out is if you'll find out what works for you, but I just cover a certain amount of my target with the bottle cap, and that's my sight picture, and I pull the trigger. Alright, so got the blaster on. 10 beads are underneath the cap, which is hanging on, not falling off. And we'll move it over to fire. And take it from there. Give me a second to adjust here. Alright. Here we go. Shake, 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 just to show that even if you move it around a little, it will still work. Works great. Alright, so let's get back here to put on the original hopper, just to show you that if you choose to go back to this after using my hack, you can in a matter of a few seconds, since there is no alteration or damage to the blaster. No harm, no fall. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about probably the biggest thing with this hack, which you're probably typing in the comments, is, well, if you do that, you only get 10 rounds versus, according to the box here, it says this hopper, the one that comes with the gun, can hold up to 1,200 beads. Alright? But again, we're talking about realism, right? What handgun do you know can carry 1,000+ rounds in a magazine? So, with that being the case, 10 rounds is actually fine. Also, think about it, a lot of guns, especially if they're, are chambered in 45 or even 40, they might have around 10 rounds in a magazine, especially if they're single stack. So 10 rounds is actually quite real. Okay, and another thing along that same lines, notice when I turn this on, I left this in single shot mode. There are burst and full auto, but I leave it in single shot because, again, most of us, especially if you're following the law, don't have a full auto pistol on your hip. So again, so I hope those tips help you put an extra realism element in your play/training and have fun.